Alright, welcome back to the second part of the Let's Play of the demo for Mask of the Rose. We will soon be getting into it, but before we do that, I just wanted to say that if you happen to like this video, this game, or this channel, or any other things, I would love it if you dropped a sub or a like, and I would also love any type of comments, because that's the only way I know what you like or not. And also, please comment about the game. And having said that, we shall jump right back into it. So we can do one more thing. Devil's Townhouse. Go during receiving hours to fill in the census. The Devil's Townhouse is in a finer area of town than Mrs. Chapman's lodging. I find their door at last. The knocker is made of brass, unreasonably warm brass, and it is shaped like the head of a goat. The attendant is human enough, but she refuses to answer any questions. I wait in a very old-fashioned wooden chair. I keep feeling that the armrests are nipping at my wrists. I am invited inside at last. A member of the constabulary? You do not require your assistance. Milton will see you out. Your eye for detail has failed you, Virginia. Our visitor wears the badge of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. I collect this as some official errand. Introduce myself as an agent of the ministry. Introduce myself and reveal that my family were scholars and churchmen. Nor here, agent for the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. They both fall extremely still. I'm not sure what that they breathe. Present the census as though it were my own idea. No, let's not do that. I had a few inquiries I wish to make. Not much given to explanation, are you? We are in the middle of a delicate matter. Come now, Virginia. Wouldn't you find it entertaining to learn what the masters are asking? I admit to significant curiosity. Just what does the ministry hope to learn about you and me that it doesn't already know? Then ask, and be prompt, Nor. And if this proves a waste of our time, Milton, you will owe me your good hunting horn. Oh wow, he has a lot of them. Choose a question from a note. Let someone else lead the conversation. No, let's not. Name? Virginia is a fine name, fashionable. One tries to accommodate the local culture. That is, one tries until it becomes too much bother. Our friend implies that the name does not distinguish you from the common or garden variety of Virginia. It might benefit from a poetic epithet. Amber-eyed Virginia, for instance. London poets have a taste for that kind of thing. Brass-shod Virginia. You must ensure that it scans. Do not write that down. Virginia of the cloven hoof. Definitely not. Pity. Matters of the heart. I don't think she has any humor, otherwise I would have gone with the first one. Ask making it clear this is for the census. The census asks me to record whether you are in love or married. So that's it? I have no romantic involvements that you need report to your employers. No one speaks for a moment. I suppose you must have met with Mr. Pages and visited the ministry. While you were there, did you happen to see any of its maps and charts? There's a territorial matter in some dispute. Tell her I've never been to the ministry. Remind her that maps are now illegal. You're mistaken. I've never been to the ministry. I see. I didn't realize that they had taken the legation to such a height. If you do find yourself there and happen to see such a thing, I recommend you take note of it. Or if you happen to see a paperweight marked with strange letters, I would be curious to learn of it. Household organization. Okay, let's do that again. Something I like to ask all the new people I meet. Who else lives in your household? I have a maidservant, a housekeeper, and 3 drones. Footman? Yes, footman. Milton's house is similar. I reside alone. You have servants? I do. Several. I had assumed that they would not be counted as persons. Okay. You must trust me on this sort of thing, Virginia. I have had more time to learn London's customs. And you frequently entertain overnight visitors. Oh my. Never for very long. Here's a question from my notebook. Let someone else. Yeah, let's try that again. For a moment, no one speaks. Virginia tells a few stories, more to the air than to me, about the useless nature of London secretaries and servants. Be flirtatiously receptive to her tale. Ask questions at all the necessary moments. No. Let's be polite. I follow up with suitable inquiries. It seems only polite. Virginia's silent stare makes my neck prickle. I do not think there will be any other answer. Ask about the purpose of the building. What sort of business is typically done here? Diplomacy, commerce. Contracts are written and signed. Gathering of information. Ask whether they are solicitors. Ask whether it's an academic business. Ask whether they engage in espionage. Contracts. Are you solicitors? Those who solicit. The term implies some engagement with the law. London law. An inferior product, I agree. We are not solicitors. This line of question is proving more difficult than I anticipated. All the same, I need to know about your business. Use my authority to bully Virginia. Promise to repay frankness somehow in the future. I'll owe you a favor if you tell me. Whatever you wish to collect. Virginia hesitates. You're sure it has have a certain counterfeit quality. There is a short silence. Milton tells a story about a baker who has started selling cricket flour cakes nearby. Okay. Believe her taste receptive to his tale. I do find you fascinating. It's mutual, I'm sure. Here's a question. Employment. Ask whether it's true that people here collect souls. And tell me, what line of work is appropriate for someone like you? I am establishing official connection between my country and this place. So you are an ambassador to London? An ambassador? We're not on such equal terms. Ask about questions between London and hell. Ask about the governance of hell. How is hell governed then? Is there a prince, as we are told? Decidedly there is not. And on that she walks out. Okay, that didn't go well. A bit of a sore spot there, you weren't to know. Never mind, if you come back another time, perhaps she will receive you again. If you do, however, I recommend avoiding any mention of bells or violets. Ask whether it's true people here collect souls. I've heard a rumor that you ask people for their souls. Me? All of you. That you go around asking for souls. I'm more interested in unpublished manuscripts, poetry, and that sort of thing. So you are a publisher? Dear me, no. All the same, I need to know about your business. Okay, let's do that again. I'll owe you a favor if you tell me. Milton hesitates. There's nothing more savory than an incautious promise. I do collect souls, but not, let us say, in bulk. There are wholesale dealers, souls by the gross, etc. I am more of a specialist merchant. For my taste, the literal soul is especially intriguing. Panic. That's whether using the church meaning of soul. When you talk about a person's soul, do you mean the same thing a preacher's would? I'd ask whether a preacher means the same thing we do. Some people don't even miss their soul once it's gone. Recount a tale of devils from my reading. Stories tell of a city where people willingly allow themselves to be immolated because the person burnt always returned. A month later, the victim would walk back into town healthier and happier than ever. But it was a trick. The person who came back was not the citizen who had burned, but a devil in disguise. We are not finger kings. At least, I think that was what he said. A moment later, the name is gone. Do I have any more questions? Oh yeah, I do. Ask for Chastely about his full name. So, what is the rest of your name? Are you somebody Milton or Milton somebody? Milton is my most recent name. I've had others, but this suits the current occasion. I have another pressing appointment, I fear. I must beg you to excuse me, Professor. I wish to know more about you and your friends. It's almost time to eat. Griz is waiting for me. Whatever census forms you have ready, it is time to take them to Mr. Page's. Ask if we could have supper instead. I'm ready. We've done work. I'm prepared. I sincerely hope that's true. Come with me. Once I've shown you how to reach the ministry, you can come back on your own and turn in others. Griz has me gather my papers. With luck, Mr. Page will decide to keep you on. With even more luck, he won't mind being asked about the ministry of chirography and cartography. With that, she leads me outside and along down a side street that is no longer named. The way is serpentine, through streets that do not seem to lead toward spires at the center of the city. But each time I look up, it is closer. The spired building on the horizon. Finally, we found ourselves standing in its shadow under its walls. Before us is a low door that once, I think, belonged to a solicitor's office. Griz takes out a key, made of something other than metal, and unlocks that door. Mind the pile of papers. I've already sorted them 3 times. Mr. Page is very particular about the ordering of documents. Now, where has he gone? Usually he's here by this time of day. Oh. There you are, sir. We were just coming to bring you the census documents. A first installment of many, I'm sure. Mr. Pages, may I present Nor? Nor, this is Mr. Pages. The whole Ministry of Accounting and Recounting is under Mr. Page's direction. Acknowledge the introduction, expects gratitude for the job, stand well back and make no sudden moves. Mr. Page is extremely tall and its arms are very long. Mr. Page, Griz, Reassure your timidation underclerk. Mr. Page has a surprisingly high voice for someone so large. You're completely safe here, Professor. What have you brought us? Hand over a finished census page about Virginia. Ah, most satisfactory. There are secrets here. It gives me 2 shiny pennies for my trouble. I turn one over and it has a portrait on the back of someone who is certainly not the queen. The face on the back of the coin stares at me until the hair prickles on my neck. It reminds me of death ode. And I don't want to remember. And my breath hitches and slows and resumes. I'm holding 2 pennies now. Griz specificated the existence of holy men who were wedded to the church. This one appears to have been wedded to a woman only. A disappointment. Though we thank you, it might have been something more. It contemplates the final sheet of the census form again. What else is there? Page takes my penny payment from a jar, bringing my stash to 3. There are other coins in there, and a few things that aren't even coins. Buttons, pearls, probably false. A horse head carved from ivory or bone. We are grateful for your assistance. Page goes through the pages of this census with growing interest, studying some pages closely. Then, suddenly, stops and throws the sheet on its desk. She is known to us. She is not from the 5th city at all, not even the 1st. Griz reaches for the pages, frowning. The sense of caduceus are fluidly consistent. Not all of their takes are worthy to tell. Ask Mr. Page a few questions on my own. The census. Ask what the census is for. Ask what the Romans accounts are about. Yeah, let's do that. Why are you asking people about the romantic situation? Are you planning any related laws or regulations? I can't imagine that. You may consider the love stories remunerant in exchange for our generosity in the matter of food and clothing. Discover whether Mr. Page is looking for tales of a saucy variety. Ask whether the stories have to be true. Is it important that these tales be truthful? London is full of fiction. There are more novels published every year, and half the accounts in the newspaper are likely false as well. Wine might experimentulate. Okay, let's go for the sauce. Sauce time. Are there any particular deeds that would enhance the pleasure of these tales? Yes. If you're able to convey the flavor of the hearts and the resistance to the tooth, metaphorically. Ask what the census is for. What are you doing with the census information? All of London's older records were destroyed in the fall. Not destroyed. Rendered less than utilificacious. Many of the people counted are deceased. Moreover, the older records are omissionary. Perhaps it was time for such a thing. My uncle always said that parliamentary procedures have the dust of the Tudors on them. If not of King Alfred. King Alfred the Great. Ask how long the food will last. If the ministry has supplies of food, where did those come from? And how many more months will they feed us? The census may provide us with a better understanding of requirements. There are methods of additional precision. It is not value official for the people of London to starve. Draw this conversation to an end. We got some money though. Griz accompanies me out again when it is time to go. As we make our way back to Horatius, She asked me what I think of Mr. Pages. He tries to make it sound like an idly curious question. I admit I found Mr. Page disquieting. Yeah, we can do that. I tell Griz that I found Mr. Pages frightening. He spent much of the walk home reassuring me that Paige is gentle and harmless in her experience. That the ropes are concealing and the height rather astonishing, but that doesn't mean Mr. Page is at all dangerous. She even managed to say that I might be prejudiced against the tall. Oh my. Before we go back inside the house, she reminds me, yeah, I clicked too quickly there, sorry about that. We have many more people in the neighborhood to survey for the census. You know how it's done now, so you can collect them and take them to Mr. Pages yourself. I have other duties and I may not always be there, but Pages is... Well, I am certain you won't be harmed to visit the ministry on your own. Ask neutrally whether Griz has feeling for Pages. Silently conclude that she has an interest in Pages, yeah. There's something in the tone of her voice. It is nearly time for supper. Archie is already at the table when I arrive. When he sees me come in, he gives a guilty start and scoops some of the stew back into the tureen. Took more than I'd right to, but not eaten any yet. Apologies. Say nothing but don't have any stew. Shrug and take a bite. I'm trying to decline my dinner just because it took a sojourning in someone else's bowl. There was a lass who asked me to come round and look at her brother, a Jewish family. They usually go to their own doctor, but he's out of service, or ran away, or something of that ilk. The old synagogue was destroyed in the fall, so they moved to the Tentergrounds synagogue. New location discovered. Tentergrounds Synagogue, an old synagogue and one that has weathered the fall very well. Rachel and David Landau has a stomach complaint, chronic. Perhaps they have trouble cooking anything palatable. It isn't easy these days with what we have. The sister's a beauty. She wouldn't leave the room while I saw to her brother. Ask what Rachel was doing. Is that usual? What was she doing? She kept watching me while I worked, making notes in her wee book. Felt as I was being marked on my bedside manner. And the brother, will he live? Oh aye, for a bit I thought it might be serious. But what he needs is his stomach settled. Tell unnerving stories about meeting Griz's employer. No, let's not do that. Matters of the heart. If a person took a fancy to you, would they be faced with any competition? Down here? Nah. What about before the fall? There was a lass back home, and what did me mother do but promise me to her? Encourage him to go on. Suggest he might prefer a more local alternative. That sounds a long way to go to be finding a bride. Might be there's someone better suited here in London? Well, I never had much nerve for courting. Might be no one down here would take a fancy to me anyhow. Employment. Relying on what I already know. Ask for Chase about what Archie does for money. Is he a doctor? Lead into my questions in a sinister manner. So tell me, you do nothing with your spare time but see patients, Archie? I did sell off a couple of my old atlases a few days back. Sell them? I thought the Macers told everyone to turn them in. Since the maps were censored, they sell for a good price, with the right buyer. There's more to Ferret's vermin eradication than just the rats. Oh, new location discovered. Ferret's shop. Ferret is the local menace eradicator, and there's significant need for their services lately. By this time, our plates are empty. Horatia stands and begins putting the dishes away. "232 days since the fall. Season of confessions. Continue." Despite everything, there are still broadsheets printed. This morning's lies open on the table. Orgiastic parties of legendary viscountess threaten virtual reputation of ordinary citizen. Recall the past. I remember the days of the fall in fragments. There are a few moments that I always draw back to, memories that stand for everything else that happened. There are things I sometimes remember from that night that cannot have happened, impossible things. If I concentrate, I can recall. Constable Hargit checked on us that night. I think Griz did say something about her family name. Griz was eating a cold dinner. There wasn't a hot one that night. But Horatia was determined that we had to eat. Griz and I have both been lodging at Horatia since before the fall, but at first we didn't speak much. She kept her distance back then. She became much friendlier since the fall. No question of lighting the stove today. I'm sorry to say I found a few things in the larder. Those two things would be worth a fortune now. Griz didn't look impressed. She had the end of a loaf of bread, a roast joint we hadn't finished, a cheddar with the wax covering still on. The yellowed eels barely been touched, plenty to go around. In fact, I think Griz mentioned her family briefly. While we were eating, a joking reference. When the sky got dark, a grim reference. Let's go with that. Are you concerned for your parents? You can visit them in the morning, perhaps. No. I could go with you if you want, or Archie would escort you, I dare say. That might be better. If the elderly townhouse were to slide sideways into the Thames, I would not be going to investigate. Okay. So now we have Tentergrounds, Synagogue, Ferret's shop, the bazaar, and all of the previous locations as well. Anyway, I think this might be a good place to end off part 2 of this demo for The Mask of the Rose. I hope you had as much fun as I had, and that you might drop a like or a sub or check out the game for yourselves. I also hope to see you again in future videos from this series or others. But until then, have a good one and bye bye.